Oh, I saw Henry.
Oh, Henry.
He's got a little... I saw his little body and then his little tail flick. But then he left.
We've been outside a lot the past few days, and he's had some allergies. It's really funny. And he's also been covered in yellow pollen the past... it's really funny.
And welcome to what is usually Way Too Broad, a show and tell program for really, really ridiculously excited grown-ups. As you might have guessed from the world right now, we're slightly less carefree, I guess, than usual on the podcast this week. And we're also down a host, not for any health-related reasons of his own, but Baby Ben could not join us today, so I'm your host, Hannah, and this is my one co-host this week, Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
Hello.
What a long-winded intro.
That was, hello. We're, instead of Way Too Broad, we're just two broads.
Yes, which is already another podcast, I think.
Oh, my bad. No disrespect meant.
So, Ben couldn't make it, as I said in my long-winded intro, and, he's fine. We're all feeling fine. We're all in isolation as we were already last week, I think. But we thought, this is a point in time with the spread of the coronavirus, and there are already some states that have shelter-in-place orders, and there's rumors that there will be more coming soon in the U.S. So a lot more people are going to end up living the way that Aaron and I, and Ben, I think, have been living for at least a week, or for some of us more already. So we thought it might be helpful if we just gave you, a list of some of the things we've been doing to keep ourselves entertained while we're essentially already sheltering in place.
We're forging ahead to bring you the best of entertainment from sheltering in place.
Yes. But first, Aaron, what are you drinking?
Yeah, what's up? I've got an ice water, and I've also got a third calf coffee. It's two scoops, decaf, 1 scoop calf, because I already had a fully caffeinated cup today and I was buzzing. And I also have a freshly baked chocolate chip cookie.
Nice.
With me here today. That can be our third co-host.
Yeah, spoilers for quarantine activities.
Yeah.
Baking. I have a seltzer. We ran out of the good fizzy juice. We probably won't have more of that for a while. Yeah. I didn't stock up.
Did you order on Amazon? Do they have it on Amazon?
That's a good question. I haven't ordered anything on Amazon lately because everything I've gone looking for, it's been like, it'll be back in stock in a year. So I just stopped. Thank you. This, I also have freshly delivered and probably too hot to drink a cup of green tea. It's Taiwanese High Mountain Oolong tea. I think we bought it in Salem the last time we were there, if I remember correctly. And this is grapefruit seltzer. That's the type of seltzer I have.
Nice.
We bought we ordered Peapod. Apparently, Peapod is like the delivery service for Stop and Shop. Do you have Stop and Shop down there?
We do not.
Apparently, so Stop and Shop's been doing delivery services for a long time, since I was in college, which is 10 years ago now. So they have a very well set up grocery delivery system. And so I remembered that because I used to get deliveries of groceries that my mom would order me in college when I had no money. And so I went on their website and I ordered it, and I ordered it last Saturday, the 14th. And then they delivered it. I'm looking at a calendar. They delivered it on the 19th, on Thursday. And that now is a turnaround time. Usually you can get it the same day or the next day, maybe is the earliest you can usually get it. But because a lot of people are doing it, and also a lot of things are out of stock, I was talking to people from my work this week who tried to order Peapod, and the wait time was 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow.
So they were like, I can't wait that long.
Yeah.
So, but it was really nice for us because we got our initial order in, and then you can edit your order up until midnight the day before they deliver.
Oh, perfect.
So we kept on thinking of things and adding to it, and by the time it came, it was a huge grocery order, but it was everything we needed. It was Christmas.
Awesome.
And they do a contactless delivery, so they didn't have to come in the house at all either. So it's really nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been part of my pastime has been doing research on like how we can get all of the things that we need or want via contact delivery. And I think I've finally pieced everything together, because there's a lot of like, you know, in North Carolina is a big like agriculture state. Like we have a ton of local farms, and a lot of them have switched to delivery model. So that's been great. And because we're outside of the typical range of delivery for most, if not all, Durham restaurants, because we're kind of out like 15, 20 minutes, but we're exactly in the range. That's where all the farmers are. That's where all the farms are too. So we're kind of like directly in the range of those deliveries. So we've got like good meat and vegetable delivery options. And I just realized today, or just confirmed today, that we can do like the Whole Foods, like, you know, Amazon and Whole Foods are now like the same. Amazon bought Whole Foods. And so we can get Whole Foods delivered to our house. Again, it's like, you know, I have to plan it way in advance, but that can complete things that I need. Like, you know, butter is one of those things. And I'm like, how am I going to get butter without going to the grocery store?
You just get can you get a churn?
Well, you can actually make, you say that in jest, but you can make, butter out of heavy cream in your stand mixer. I actually was looking up that recipe today, because you make butter and then the byproduct is buttermilk. Which are two things that, like, I don't have buttermilk, and I was wanting to make biscuits, and I was running low on butter. My neighbor actually delivered me some butter. But I was like, I do have heavy cream. I could make my own butter and buttermilk in a pinch. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, we're all gonna, you know, I'm so curious about, like, I was talking to Ian about this just like half an hour ago. I'm so curious about the things that this whole time period that could be quite a while of us having like at least sort of rolling cycles of these like self-isolation times. I'm so curious what it's going to do to society in general. Like, is it gonna, once we're through this, once there's like a, vaccine or something, like, is it going to cause a lot of people to decide to move out of the cities?
Right.
Or is it going to cause a lot of people to start like doing a lot more homesteading and like all the kind of stuff that like doomsday preppers do right now? Like, it's very hard to predict, I think, especially because like tomorrow is hard to predict. Right. And obviously it's not all going to be like rosy or even neutral. A lot of things that are going to happen in the next few weeks are going to really suck for a lot of people. But long term, I'm fascinated to see what changes. This is like the first time being 9/11. This is like the second time in my life that I've been around for something where I was like, wow, this is going to be something that people are going to talk about for a lot. This is going to be one of those things that like my grandchildren are going to be like, wow, she lived through that time, you know?
Yeah,
like, she was alive then.
Yeah.
Like,
and we could be like, yeah, let's put on this podcast. Yeah, let me play this podcast episode.
Yeah, wow.
Of me and Auntie Erin talking about it. Yeah, I've been thinking about that too, and just wondering, you know, obviously, maybe I said this last time, but like, obviously there are going to be bad repercussions, but also like, just noticing the good things that are coming out of it. Like, really, like, the artists are being really scrappy, and like Cameron Esposito, did you see, like, had a book tour planned, I think, and then she moved it to Zoom. And is having like special guests, like Roxanne Gay was one, and they're getting like, she's just having people Venmo her like $5 to enter or to like attend, and she's had like over 500 people attend, you know, like things like that. Like I think that's so cool and so smart and so scrappy, and then also like makes that's probably not something that she would have thought of doing before, or even like would have entertained, but made it so much more inclusive to a lot of people who can't attend, or like, you know, don't have any desire to attend a real life, you know, in-person event. Also, I was talking to my friend who lives down the street. She came over today. She was on a jog, and she gave me some butter, and I gave her some yeast, and we stood like 6 feet apart. But she was saying like, it's been really nice, like, for her family, you know, they're not busy. They're all home together. They're playing with each other. They're being with each other. They're having this like really great still family time. Like, they don't take time off to when they take time off, they take time off to like travel and like go, but they've never taken time off to just be at home. And so that's, you know, just like, I think it is really hard on a lot of folks who have jobs that they have to go in person still, or they can't work during this time. But I think it's also, I'm interested. Also, I've been thinking about like, what are it going to be like for us? We're like, well, we've thought about getting chickens, but now we're like, we really want to get chickens. Like, we really want to grow more of our own food. You know, that sort of, the sort of like galvanizing. It's kind of galvanizing some things that we've just been entertaining up until now. You know,
yeah.
Or maybe people who work all the time are suddenly at home and are like, this is good. Like, maybe I want to be home more than I want to be working. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating time.
Yeah.
Also, another thing I've noticed is that, so Ian and I have been, this is something I was going to mention in our list, but it's a pretty small one, so we can talk about it now. So Ian and I have been going every couple of days, probably not as often as we should really, on walks just around the neighborhood, just to like keep our blood flowing and like get some fresh air and stuff. And I was looking today to see if that's something that, like, if there was a nationwide shelter in place order, is that likely to be something we'd still be allowed to do? You know, I know people who have dogs will still be able to walk them, but like, can people just go for like walks or runs? And I know it, you know, we don't know what the rules will actually be, but in the Bay Area where they're already sheltering in place, they are specifically making exceptions for people taking like walks or runs. Like, you can't walk to a place, but you can just take a walk. So that's good. I hope that that's true going forward, because our house is very small. But it's been interesting because there's been a lot of people out when we've been walking. I actually noticed it before I was even like home all the time, that more people were out taking walks than before. And a lot of them are walking their dogs, but just a lot of people are just taking walks. And in what I've noticed in our 2 walks we've taken so far is a lot more people like actually acknowledging us and vice versa, and like smiling and greeting each other from a safe distance. I think it's a way of being like, I see you, I acknowledge that I see you, and I'm like giving you my social cue that says like, I will not come close to you or whatever, you know, like, but it's interesting because it reminds me a lot of like just walking around like down south, like walking around Durham with you or walking around Savannah, how people just kind of like greet each other as they're walking past each other in a friendly way. That's like not common in the Northeast. Like usually you just like pretend you don't really see the other person unless you like are about to run into them and you apologize, you know. But like now it's like we're all having to be more aware of keeping our distance from people we're not like quarantining with. And so it's causing people to kind of like be a little like weirdly a little friendlier from a farther distance.
Interesting. I find that to be really fascinating.
Yeah, me too.
Some forced socialization despite this time of, you know, of no socialization.
Yeah. So let's talk about, with our vast amount of maybe an extra week's worth of experience compared to some people, what we've been doing to keep ourselves busy and entertained and sane while we've been shelter or self-quarantining or social distancing or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, awesome. Do you want to just ping back and forth with things that we've been up to?
I thought we'd start with, since a lot of people, you know, hourly wage earners, you know, may have experienced being laid off, or they're just like not bringing in as much money as they usually do. I thought we'd start with stuff that is like free or is a part of something you might already be subscribed to. And then move on to things that might be a little bit of extra money if you have it. So, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. I'll kick things off with a shout out to Aunt Brown, who created an amazing social distance playlist. And then, so we've got a family Slack with as much of our extended family as who is willing to be on Slack as possible. And she shared it with us and then made it collaborative, and it's pretty awesome. It's really fucking epic. So that's been really fun. Just like most people, I think, are subscribed to some sort of streaming service. And so just like creating a playlist among friends or family, it's been really fun, and it's been fun to listen to. It's been fun to like scroll through and see who's added some really funny stuff. I'll shout out some. It's just like all of the song titles are so funny, like The Distance by Cake. Don't stand so close to me, of course. Harder to breathe. That was pretty.
Oh, that was so funny.
Work from home. Empty chairs, empty tables. Yeah. Psycho killer. Anyway, it's just like so far away. Just one funny title after another.
Yeah.
And a good playlist, like a quality. Kiss Me Through the Phone. That was like a great addition.
That was me.
Yeah, that was.
I thought of that. I've been like thinking of songs for it, like as I'm laying in bed, going to sleep or whatever, and like adding them whenever I think of them.
Yeah, I was last night just singing I Want to Dance with Somebody, and I was like, oh, is that on the playlist? And it wasn't. I was so thrilled. So that's just been fun, mentally stimulating, good music, good stuff to dance to. Just like make a playlist, have some fun with it.
Mm-hmm. Agree. That's been very fun. Kind of dark humor sometimes, like Harder to Breathe, kind of dark, but you can make it as dark or as not dark as you want.
Right.
And you could actually, I think it's like openly collaborative to anybody, maybe. So if you went to it's called Social Distance. There might be a few of them out there now, but if you find that one, you can add to it. Yeah. I think. I would jump off of that and say in general, if you have like a family that's kind of like spread around the whole country and world like ours is, maybe, and you don't have this already, maybe create a family Slack, or if you do have it, or some sort of chat. You know, there are a lot of like free chat programs out there. Slack is free. You can create a whole, like, what do they call them? Servers? What are they called? Workspaces.
Oh yeah, workspaces. Yeah.
Yeah.
WhatsApp is a good one if you have international friends and family.
Yep. Too. Mm-hmm. Like make one and just start, just like keep in, like I've just noticed that our family Slack has been really like exploding since last weekend, just of people like just kind of, you know, socializing and reaching out and making sure everybody knows how they're doing and what they're up to, but also just like sharing the things that are making them happy at the moment and stuff. And it's, you know, a lot of, I think there's going to be a theme to a lot of these things, which is like finding connection even when you can't be like physically near a lot of people in your life.
Yeah. And another thing too, like in the family chat and also in a chat among friends in Slack, we created our own channel for COVID-19 just to like isolate, no pun intended, news about it, which also allows people who are needing to check out of the latest news for mental health reasons to avoid it. And then people who are interested in keeping in the loop to opt into keeping in the loop.
That's a really good point, because my position on that changes like on a daily basis. Like before I was in isolation, all I wanted to do was consume coronavirus related news and content. And now that I'm actually self-isolating, it's like, I feel at this point, I think it's like, I feel like I'm doing all I can do now. So like knowing the up to the minute numbers, or like, you know, it doesn't feel as comforting to me anymore. It just feels like, you know, what else can I do? So I haven't been like engaging as much with it as I used to.
Same.
And it's been nice to have that as an optional thing in our family Slack. Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to think about something else for a little while.
Yeah.
Because like all I've been thinking about is this.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually taking, and this is another good one, I'm taking a completely phone-free day tomorrow. I'm turning off my phone. I'm taking off my smartwatch. I'm not looking at my phone for any reason whatsoever, unless there's obviously an emergency, which, like, I'll use Molly's phone. So just, like, one full, completely phone-free day for me, just to, like, connect with some of the other things that we'll talk about.
Like books?
Like books! Yeah.
Cool. That's a great idea.
Read a book is on my list. I've been reading Untamed by Glennon Doyle. You know her?
No.
You know her? She married to Abby Wambach.
That sounds familiar.
Abby Wambach's the soccer star.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's kind of their love story. Well, I was hoping it would be more of their juicy deets of their love story, and it's only a little bit of that. It's a great book. I'm really enjoying it. But it's more about, like, her journey and, like, getting to the place where she's, like, a Christian, you know, she was, like, a Christian writer, Christian blogger, like, mommy blogger. And it was all about her, like, journey to, she was, like, married to a man with 3 kids. Her journey to, like, realizing that, or, you know, unchaining herself to the point where she could, you know, realize this love with another woman. So it's a great book.
Wow, that sounds
I'm almost
great.
done it. I've been like burning through it. Almost done. And I've got a list of books that are next.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I have a book that I want to start reading again. I started it and found it really interesting. And now that we're in this time, I think it might even be more, maybe like almost comforting. It's called The Worst Hard Time. Let me go find out. Let me go find it. Hold on.
Let her go find out. She's off to find out. Do you have Bluetooth?
Yeah.
Your leggings are cute.
These are pants.
What happened to your shirt? What'd you spill?
I don't know. I don't know what you're seeing.
There's a big wet spot on your shirt. Beneath your boob.
Where?
Beneath your right
Oh,
boob.
legit. I think that's sweat.
Oh, my bad.
I had this shirt under my boobs like this.
Oh, gotcha. That's another thing. This is free. Don't wear a bra.
Yeah, for real. Like,
It's awesome.
Most times I also don't wear pants, and that's nice
Yeah.
to spend like whole days without your pants on. Not
Yeah.
like work days, but most other times. But we just got back from a walk, so that's why I'm wearing pants.
She's justifying her pants.
And
I wouldn't be wearing these except that.
and that's why my underboobs were sweating so much.
My bad. I didn't
it's-
need to call out your underboob sweat. That's my bad.
That's all right. It's natural.
We've all got it.
Yeah. It's called The Worst Hard Time by Timothy Egan. It's about the Dust Bowl era in America's High Plains, which was horrendous. Oh my God, so bad. Like, I never knew why it was really called the Dust Bowl, really. And also that it was like kind of caused by man's actions in that area. So, I don't know exactly what the location is. I clearly haven't read this in a little while.
It was so bad somewhere.
It was so bad in whatever is still called the Dust Bowl to this day. But basically, people came in to this one part of the country, I think out west a little ways, and they just started farming the land like crazy. Like there were a lot of people who decided to homestead this area, and they basically they didn't consider that the soil could get sort of worn out, and it all kind of got worn out at once, and a lot of it turned into really dry, dusty land, and then just started creating these horrible rolling dust storms throughout the entire region that would the consequences were insane. A lot of people got died from dust in their lungs, or they were had their lungs just damaged forever. It's how people talk about getting black lung from being in the coal mines. It was like that, but you could have it just from being outside, and it would push its way through everything. Even in people's houses, they would have to put wet towels or cloth around their doors and windows, and they would just end up black after the storm had rolled through. Jeez. And another thing is that the dust all hitting each other and being around in the air created all this static electricity. So it was not just a storm of dust, it was an electrical storm of dust, and people would get injured that way, and things would get absolutely demolished and destroyed. It's crazy.
Jesus
I
Christ.
think it started fires and things.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane.
So it could be worse. Read something depressing that'll put this time in perspective.
Yeah, so this book is about the people who stayed stayed in the Dust Bowl region through that time. A lot of people left, but not everybody had the means to leave, or some people were very attached to their land and they stayed, and so he interviewed a lot of those people, and that's what this book is, and it's very good.
Dope.
Yeah, and I kind of think it will put things in a little bit of perspective for us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and this is a great time when I guess you could still order books from Amazon and stuff, but when you're, this is a great time to get through that backlog, because we all have a million books at home that we just have not read. So now's a good time to read those. That made me think of gardening. Not over gardening. But gardening is a nice, I guess that's not in the free zone.
Well, not free, I guess. It depends on what you already have, I suppose. Yeah. But you could call it gardening. You could certainly clean up and prep your land for free.
Or if you're me, Watching your wife garden and feeling very happy and supportive and loving about it. So that's, yeah.
She's just a force of nature. It's like you'd be in her way if you tried to help.
I know. I help a little bit. I opened a door for her when she had her arms full of plants. So
that's good. That's good. Yeah. That's enough, I think.
I have another free one that we have done once, and I have plans to do again, probably even tonight.
Okay.
It's home movie theater. So this is beyond just watching a movie at home. Like most people have like a streaming, like a Netflix. So find a movie you like on Netflix. What we did was we pushed the couch very close to the TV. We turned off all the lights in the house. Or in the downstairs. We turned the volume up really loud and we put our phones away. So it was like as close to a movie theater atmosphere as possible in our house. And we watched Titanic. It was very enjoyable. Again, puts things in perspective for you. So that was fun. I really enjoyed that and I want to do it again. That was my vision. Molly went along with it and we had a good time. We're going to do it again.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I have one that's free. It's called YouTube and Twitch.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. One thing, I guess just more generally, I think something that's been interesting and helpful to me about this particular scenario we're in is that everyone at this point, or nearly everyone that can be, is in the same boat that we are. And that includes all of your favorite creators and entertainers. You were talking about people being scrappy, but they're also just people who are bored and they're making stuff. And it's just like, I would say now is a really good time to check in with your favorite YouTube channels or your favorite creators and see where they are producing stuff. Obviously, no one should feel like they need to. But for example, the McElroy brothers and their family, their wives and their in-laws and everybody who has access to their YouTube channel, it's McElroy Family, I think is the name of the channel. They've been live streaming like twice a day. One of them has been like every day. Like Justin got on and just talked about like tips and tricks for when you go to Disney World for like 45 minutes. Travis got on and baked some cherry beer bread on stream and his wife was there with him for a while and it was like nice to see him. And then Griffin, we'll talk about Animal Crossing later, but he loves Animal Crossing. And so when it came out, he like streamed like 3.5 hours worth of Animal Crossing on Friday. There's a Justin's sister-in-law, Riley, she got on and made, I didn't watch that one, but she baked something as well, on stream. So they're just like getting on and just, I think they're just like, everyone's seeking kind of a sense of community in this moment. And they have a really strong fan community. So it's nice because if you're watching them, you can also participate in the chat. You could just kind of like feel like, you're hanging out with someone. And the same goes for Twitch. There's a lot of people streaming. It's a good time to start streaming if you are interested in streaming. I'm thinking about maybe streaming some Animal Crossing later this weekend. We'll see. So it's a good time to check in with the creators that you like and just see what they're doing with their time and see if it's something you can participate in or support them in or whatever. And that doesn't have to be financially. So I would say that's a free one.
Yeah, and I would say the same too. I think like celebrities and musicians and stuff are doing like Instagram live like concerts. I know B. Steadwell was doing one today. Like she was participating in like an online music festival, which is really cool. So yeah, stuff like that I think is really, really neat.
It's really neat
and available.
Yeah,
I've got two other free ones.
Okay.
/ free-ish. This is going to sound really stupid, but just the timing of this is really interesting. It's like the very beginning of spring, like the 19th was literally the first day of spring. And so at least where I am, and it's probably a little slower in other parts of the world or the country, but like, the weather's been gorgeous. And so we've been outside like most of the day, every day. And it's been really great to see like the nature around us, I've been like more in tune with like the things that are alive outside of my house than I have ever been. And just like seeing like the leaves on the trees are bigger today than they were yesterday, and just like noticing all of that. Also, Molly got me a pair of binoculars for my birthday, which the timing of that couldn't be better. And so I've been doing a lot of bird watching just like in my backyard and front yard. And so that's been awesome, and something that you can do without binoculars. It is a joy if you do have them. But we've been like, there's a hawk's nest in the front of our yard that we've been keeping an eye on. We just noticed a couple downy woodpeckers making a nest, and just like reading about those birds and learning about like, oh, okay, like they'll probably take about 2 weeks making the nest, and then they'll lay eggs, and then maybe like we can expect babies, you know, sometime mid-April, and that's something to look out for. So just like tree watching and bird watching. It's actually been like very peaceful, very enjoyable. I plan to do a lot of that more tomorrow without my phone. So yeah.
That doesn't sound silly. We've been doing the same thing. Like, we haven't been outside every day. I'd like to be outside more, but, when we do go out, the first thing that we do is we like look all around our own yard first, because there's stuff coming up already. Like there's little baby daffodils coming out in the front yard. I thought that they were just like stunted, but apparently they're like actually miniature versions of regular. So, what were we calling them, Ian? Dinky dills? Dinky dills.
I love that.
And then also in the backyard, there's like some trees budding, and there's some forsythias starting to about to flower. So it's been nice and kind of like comforting in its own weird way. So I'm down with that. It would be fun to have binoculars right now.
Did I say this last week? But it's weird because like, but the weather's been gorgeous. Did I already say this? Because it's like whenever we're preparing for, you know, when we're stocking up on things and like there's a general panic in there, it's like always a weather event. So it's very startling to have it be like gorgeous outside. Just like gorgeous.
No, you didn't say that, but that's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
That is so interesting. It is weird. It's so weird. It's so weird, like how invisible this whole problem is until like it's made me think a lot about like consumption or plagues of the past, and how I always have felt for those people when I watch like shows that take place in those times, and how like, you know, you can just suddenly realize that you have it. Like your body just does one thing and you're just like, oh God, I have it. That's like where we are right now in, you know, in a modern day sort of way. So it's not that different really. It's
except the plague is quite different from COVID-19, but yeah.
It is. But you know, that sort of like feeling of like, there's nothing I can do but hide myself. But we're more maybe at least, you know, some higher percentage of us are more equipped to stay isolated than people were in plague times. But
right, yeah,
and that's good. You know, that is good. I have another one.
What's that?
Organized Schitt.
Oh, ooh, yeah, good one.
You know, because I don't know, not every part of our household has gone through this yet, but like, in terms of like areas of our house, but there are certain areas that have like always been frustration points, and then you just kind of like walk away from them, and now it's like there's nowhere to go. So I've like reorganized some of our cabinets, and I like finally cleaned up my desk because I've been having to actually work at it and not just do podcasts at it and stuff. So like we have a ways to go. Who knows how long that'll feel like something that's fun to do, but it is a good opportunity. Like if you're like, oh, man, I wish I could get around to cleaning out that closet. Like now might be a really good time to do that. So
throw on an audiobook and clean it out. That'll make you feel like good peace of mind.
Yeah. Like productive and like more peaceful in that area going forward, which is good.
You know, the other day I called a friend, and it was actually Beck. Shout out to Beck if you're listening. Who gave us great bean advice a while ago. I did so many great like kitchen cleaning. Like I cleaned off my like stovetop, which was just like so janky, and I like cleaned my drying rack. So like that was great. Call a friend and like clean while you're talking to them, or like listen to an audiobook and clean while you're doing that. It's on my list. Molly and I took a few days off, and it's been on my list to clean up my desk so that I can come back to work to a clean, tidy desk. So that's going to be on maybe I'll do that after we're done here. Throw on my audiobook and clean it.
Why not?
Not clean the audiobook, but clean the desk.
I had call or text some people you haven't in a while on my list, so you kind of mentioned that. Like, you could do that while you're cleaning. You could do that while you're watching something. You could do it while you're making bread or baking in general, which is the thing that's on my list, you know? Because, bread, Ian tried to make bread twice, and the first time, unbeknownst to him, the yeast was very expired and dead, and so the bread was not edible.
It's my worst nightmare.
So heavy. So, like, dense and heavy and underbaked. Underbaked. So it went in the trash, but we have a really nice loaf out there now. And, you know, it doesn't last for a long time, so you have a really good excuse to make it and eat it.
Yeah. I made some buns the other day. We made pizza crust because Molly, like, had this craving for pizza. And so I made pizza dough.
Nice.
I made pizza crust and the other parts of the pizza.
She was craving for pizza, so we made a pizza crust.
Yeah.
And that partially worked. And we made a pizza crust, and then we had some tomatoes and a slice of cheese and some pepperoni.
And we actually didn't eat the crust, because who does that? I made the crust, and then I was like, now pretend like you've just eaten the pizza. And we'll throw these away. So, yeah, baking is totally on my list. Love it.
Make bread / bake.
Yeah, I'm glad she had me make pizza dough, because I actually thought I had a lot of yeast, but I only had a small expired packet. And so I kind of, like, immediately, like, freaked out and bought some yeast on Amazon. And it was, like, some of the last yeast that they had. And so I actually now have a lot.
Wow.
So.
Wow, and you panic bought yeast.
I panic bought yeast. Yeah, that was my thing. And they didn't actually have the kind of yeast I wanted, the kind that, like, active dry that you use for baking. They only had instant yeast, which is better for, like, sweetbreads and stuff. So I'm going to be baking some sweetbreads. Aw, it's Squeaks.
Squeaks is here. She's on my lap. She's chilling. She's licking me. Squeaks has been very lovey.
Pet a cat.
That's pet a cat or a dog. That's a good isolation activity if you have, not other people's though, only if you have your own.
Squeaks is demonstrating a great isolation activity, which is lick a microphone cord.
Yeah.
Or any cord that could be substituted for any type of cord.
Yeah. Squeaks is, another good isolation activity is sleep. She demonstrates that one a lot.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I slept for like almost 10 hours today. It was so nice.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Let me see. Do I have any other free ones?
Board games.
Board games. Great idea. And you can do those also online. A lot of them. We should play Dominion sometime soon.
Yeah, let's schedule it. I would love that.
Okay. Dominion. There's other ones too. I don't know. So board games you can play either in person or online. You can also do like Maddie was saying earlier this week. We haven't scheduled that yet either, but you can do Jackbox games over the internet as well. Excuse me. If someone just takes the camera of whatever you're video chatting on and points it at the TV, it doesn't have to be like very high resolution. We've done it with our friends before. Then you just go.
Cool. Love it.
I had one more. Oh, if anyone has ever heard me talk about ARGs or unfiction stuff, and has thought, man, I think that sounds interesting, but I have no time to deep dive on things that have like secret codes and stuff in them, now's a great time to do that. I have a couple recommendations of things that are like ongoing now. I've talked about Dad in the past. I think his YouTube is just Dad, or Dad Feels. His YouTube channel is called Dad Feels, I believe. It's just called Dad. I think if you search Dad, you'll find it. That's still ongoing. It's a little bit slower than I expected it to be, but then there's Echo Rose, who I think I've also talked about. That's the name of her YouTube channel. they are definitely planning to keep on making content through the quarantine situation. They're staying isolated, but they're still like, that's still their creative outlet. So, because I also follow the creator for that, and that's been really interesting and well done and well performed, I would say. And another one with incredible production value that only started up recently, but has like escalated really fast. It's a little bit darker than the other two. It's got some like really kind of like scary imagery in it. Like, Aaron, I wouldn't recommend it for you,
Okay.
but, it's called I Am Sophie. It started out as seemingly just kind of like a parody of those people who are just like absurdly wealthy. And so they make these highly produced YouTube channels out of nowhere with like no one asking for it. And just like basically just to flex how like big their house is and how much expensive stuff they have. It's like very popular content on YouTube, but it was like, you know, sort of parodying that type of behavior, but with high production value, like to the point of like, okay, who gave you money to do this? And with very, very good acting. And then it like took a dark turn, like a hard left turn into dark territory really quickly. I don't want to spoil it, but it's really interesting. And it's very quick to catch up on because it really only started like a couple weeks ago.
How do you find out about this kind of content?
Oh, well, that's another good point, actually. There are a few YouTubers who cover stuff like this, that often get in on the ground floor of these types of things that I also follow. And, one of them is called Night Minds. Another one is, let me look at my subscriptions. What are their names? There is...
That just got Missy Higgins' Night Minds stuck in my head.
That's a good song. Night Mind. Loie Lane covers that stuff. She's really cool. There was one other one that I know I follow who does that. Oh, Nexpo, which is short for Nightmare Expo. He often makes like explainer videos about new or older, like, of this type of stuff. And now, you know, now that YouTube knows that I like it, I also get recommended this kind of stuff on a pretty regular basis. But yeah, that's pretty much how I find out about it, is from those people who just like live for it all the time.
Nice.
So, check it out. I Am Sophie. Very freaky. Very good. Do you have other free ones? I have some Netflix recommendations.
Yeah, I've got some Netflix recommendations. I think those are all my, like, basically free ones that we've been doing. We've thought about, like, keeping a journal of, like, just this time. Because also, like, we're bird watching, so keeping a journal for, like, our bird observations. But also, like, we haven't been able to remember what days things happened on. I don't know if this happened to you. But Molly was like, remember yesterday when we saw the thing? I was like, that was 2 days ago. And also, I'm like, what day did we plant these seeds? And we were like, we have literally no idea. And, like, nothing happened that we could, like, be like, oh, yeah, that was Wednesday. Because this thing happened, like, all our days are, like, running together.
Wait, is this why people used to keep, like, daily... is this why, like, Gentleman Jack happened?
Well, like... Ann Lister, I think, was a compulsive journalist. I think that's why that happened, but maybe.
But, like, people kept... Yeah, because if you look... Like, I can remember being at museums and stuff, and there would be, like, exhibitions that were just, like, you know, laminated copies of someone's journal from that time period. Yeah. And it was just like, this day I did some washing, I da-da-da, like the most boring shit. Maybe that's why.
I bet it is, because it's so frustrating. Like, we were literally trying to figure out what day we did something, and we just don't know, and I don't know how we will know, because nothing happened differently on any of those days. And if it did... Maybe I was like, maybe that's the day I made buns. What day did I make buns? I don't fucking know.
Wow.
Was it yesterday? I don't know. Like, these days feel the same. It's fine. I'm enjoying all of them. I'm enjoying this time, but I don't know when this stuff happened. How long? Like, I'm like, oh yeah, we stopped going out Thursday, but like, what day was that? Was that this past Thursday? What day is it today? Is it? I don't know. So that's a free thing you can do.
Yeah, keep a journal so you don't forget your days.
So your life doesn't slip away before your very eyes.
Okay, so now, what are your Netflix recommendations?
Oh man, this might be a future obsession. I'm gonna save it. Never mind. I take it back because I'm gonna save it for obsession next week.
Okay. Is this the thing I told you about?
No. Assuming we're back to normal programming.
Okay.
Which I am assuming.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm going to mention a show that we just binged the other night. It was like, I put the trailer on and Ian was like, I'm mildly interested in this, but I think I'm going to play like Stardew or something while you watch it because I'm not that interested. And then he had to, by the second episode or so, he had put the Switch away. It had won him over.
Nice.
It's an extremely lesbian show called Feel Good on Netflix. I think it probably just premiered recently. So the first season is only like 6 episodes. They're like a half hour each. It's about a Canadian comedian named May living in England who starts up a new relationship with a girl named George, short for Georgina, but she goes by George. And she's never been with a woman before, and they have a ton of chemistry. They're very sweet together. Lisa Kudrow plays May's mother, who still lives in Canada, and her dad is played, I don't know the actor's name, but he's a British dude, and he's also wonderful. And it's very funny, like very like dry humor, great like banter between a lot of the characters. May's sense of humor is incredible. Her Canadian accent is incredible. Her tight jeans are incredible. Like, it's just very good.
I can't wait to watch that. Molly and I are in the middle of the aforementioned show that will be my obsession next week, and then I'm gonna force her to watch that with me.
Yeah, it's got its serious moments. It's not just funny, but even in its serious moments, it's often still pretty funny. So I like that kind of thing.
Cool, love it.
I would suggest anybody at any time rewatch or watch for the first time Schitt's Creek. There's like 5 seasons on Netflix at least. Maybe, I don't know, or around 5 seasons. They're all great. We rewatched like the second to last season, recently, and it was just a total delight. I just love it so much.
I never finished it. I need to do that.
You know, it was like the first season, I ended up really liking it, but during the first season, I can remember I'm sympathetic to people who fell off of it during the first season because
I did.
It was like the whole time I kept thinking like, do I like this? Like, why am I not laughing more? Mm-hmm. Like, is this a comedy? What is this? But like, I don't know. It's got a tone like nothing else. And I came to really appreciate it a lot. And like a lot of the characters that you start out sort of hating, you ultimately love a lot. Like, it's not like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where all the main characters have no redeeming qualities forever, and you just get used to it, and stop expecting anything of them. Like, they grow, and they learn, and they change, and it's nice to see that. And there's also a fair amount of gay shit in it as well, which I always love.
And I love Dan Levy, and I feel like I just have, I struggle with things that are not immediately, like, hook me, but then also have a lot of seasons, like a lot of episodes. I feel like this incredible like trepidation and burden, and I flee from that. So
I think I have to go back and watch the first season. I haven't watched it in a while, but there are a lot of seasons, but they're short episodes. I mean, it's not like a Mad Men type thing. Right? But yeah, I would, you know, if you're looking for something at some point after you get through all this other stuff, I would suggest giving it another shot. I think you'll find it worthwhile. Also, Terrace House, same deal with Terrace House. I know I always talk about Terrace House, but what a great time. And things with subtitles often, for me, are like the best distractions in terms of things to watch. Like, that's why I get so into Korean dramas sometimes, like, because you can't look at anything else. You can't be scrolling Twitter or you completely lose the thread. So,
yeah. I mean, that's part of the, like, joy of home movie theater is just, like, as a rule, you have to put your phone down because you just, like, be present in something other than, like, you're just still on the news. You're still looking at the news.
Right.
So.
Right. Okay. So then let's talk about things that might cost money.
Okay.
I have some.
Baking,
gardening.
Baking, gardening. Another one is just like, I've been enjoying this time for like slow roasts or like long cooks. I've made a lot of like soups that I start making them by starting with the stock. Like, you know, I'm taking my bones and not my bones.
It's not that serious yet.
Not that serious. Maybe later. But taking, you know, just like something that takes like, I started at 2 for dinner. Like, I've just been enjoying that so much. Just like, I've done a ton of those. So just like having this wide open space, even on a work from home day, like, you know, go downstairs for 15 minutes to prepare something, and then it's just going to sit there, you know, just taking advantage of cooking projects that like, I couldn't do while I'm at the office because, you know, they just require starting at an awkward hour. Or like baking bread is another great example. Like if you're home, like baking bread, sometimes you have to start at like 10 and then do something at 3 and then bake it at like 6 or 7. So like having that, even in a working day, having that schedule where you're just like around to do that. It's just been like really taking advantage of that and just pulling, you know, we get this like meat CSA. So we have this like some interesting cuts that I haven't really cooked before. Just pulling them out of the fridge or of the freezer and into the fridge and then like being like, great, where is this adventure going to lead? And having the time and space to do that really been a joy.
I think it's very symbiotic with working from home, actually, not just because you have the time, but because what I've found, I'm not as accustomed to working from home as you are, but like, if I don't have a reason to get up or some kind of reminder to get up, I can be so like even more sedentary working than I am at the office from home. So having a reason that you need to just like get up and walk around and like take a breather, it can make you better at work, and also it's better for your body, and also you end up cooking a nice slow roast or whatever. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Something I've been really enjoying, which is free or cheap, depending on if you already have this software, is playing Stardew Valley multiplayer online with my family, or you could do it with your friends also. So if you have Stardew Valley on your computer or on your Switch, I think that's the only places you can get it. I'm not sure. Or a Mac, still a computer.
Famously a computer.
You can, then if you already have it, then the multiplayer update was free. It should have just pushed out to your game already. So you should be able to either start a new farm, all together with like up to 3 other people, or you can actually take your file that you already have, buy a really cheap, extra cabin to put on your farm, or more than one. You can buy up to 3 extra cabins to put on your already established farm, from Robin, who's like the local carpenter, and they get built immediately. Most things that you build on your farm take a few days, but with those, they get built right away. And then you can immediately, through online play, invite people to come be on the farm with you, whether it's a new one, like fresh from day one, or just they'll start wherever you're at. Another
when you
thing
say buy, I'm sorry, when you say buy, is that like real money or like Stardew money?
Stardew money.
Okay, cool.
But the thing that does cost money is if you want to do it online, you can do local multiplayer for free. So if you're already in a household of people who have Stardew Valley, I don't think you'd need this. But what we did spend some extra money on was getting a Nintendo Online account. So you're playing on the Switch. In order to do any kind of online, anything, you have to have a Nintendo Online account, which is like, what is it, like $4 a month if it's just one person, Ian? Or it's $35 a year for a family group. So if you, and it doesn't have to just be your family in a family group. You can build your family group of whoever you want at up to like 9 people. So if you know, if this is something you want to do, but you don't have like $35 right now, maybe see if you can like split it up with a bunch of your friends or whatever. So that's been a good one for us. That's been really enjoyable.
That's
and
cool.
It's nice because when you can't get out of the house, at least your character on Stardew can go about their business.
Can get within 6 feet of another person.
Yeah. Exactly. You got another money costing one?
Let me see here. don't think so.
I've got a few more that I can run through quickly.
Cool. Yeah.
Another one I've talked about before, but just to mention, if you can get your hands on it, I hear that they keep selling out, but Nintendo Ring Fit Adventure has been really nice for us to own right now.
Nice.
It's another Switch-oriented thing, because, it gives us a way to exercise that doesn't involve leaving the house and putting ourselves at risk in any way, that we're not already at risk.
I was gonna say that too, like, bodyweight exercises, like, a lot of people on Instagram, like, it seems like the camp is split. It's like some fitness people on Instagram are bitching about the gyms being closed, but some are instead like using the space to promote and offer free guides on like how to do bodyweight exercises, just like keep your heart rate moving, because it's like so good for just like your morale and your health, obviously. So.
It helps a lot. You're right that you can totally do an at-home workout for free. You don't need Ring Fit Adventure to do it. And there are a lot of tools that people are putting out there. No, but they're both very nice, and it's good. Yeah, to keep your body moving is always good.
Yeah.
Another one is Animal Crossing New Horizons finally came out on the Switch on the 20th of March. So that's a big spend. That's like $60 game. But it's very good. If you are a fan of Animal Crossing, give it a try, I would say. And that's another one that you can, socialize with other people within the game that are not physically with you. You can, invite them to your island and you can go visit their island and stuff like that. So.
Talk to me about, do you understand why there was so much hype around that game? I just, not really being hooked into the gamer community. I heard so much hype about that game.
It's been quite a few years since there was a new Animal Crossing. So Animal Crossing just has a really devoted fan base.
Okay.
And I think that plus the timing coming right when everyone was stuck in their houses, there was a big sort of push on Twitter for people trying to convince Nintendo to put it out early and stuff like that.
Did it work?
Because no, it didn't work. It came out right on time. I thought it would have been nice if they discounted it or something, but they didn't.
I was wondering if movie industry are gonna put films for streaming sooner.
Oh, maybe that would be nice of them, huh?
That would be nice, yeah.
My last one, I think I only had one. Depending on where you live, you may not have the chance to do this anymore. But one thing that I wanted to share was a strategy for how to. I had a lot of, the other day, Ian and I got a text from our local Thai restaurant that we like a lot that was basically saying hey, we're still open for takeout. We have this new dish. It freezes really well. They clearly were trying to drum up some business. It was not the most, well, executed text blast. They actually made it, they didn't make it so they were hiding anybody's number. So they just sent it to a group of 20 actual customers' phone numbers.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, but they've never done anything like that as far as I know. So it made me feel even more oh gosh, they're really hurting. I didn't want them. I don't want them to go out of business permanently. And I trust that their kitchen is clean. So we actually went through with ordering some takeout from them and actually ordered some extra takeout from them. And nice. I have some, tips that we had. And if you have any, I'd love to hear them as well about how to deal with that. One thing I've heard, and I didn't do this and I probably should have, but everyone should feel comfortable with asking before they actually place an order about what are the steps that people are taking to make sure that their kitchen is safe, and do they have a good sick leave policy so that people aren't coming in sick and stuff. This is a very small family run business, which can be good or bad on that front, but at least I kind of feel at least they definitely care about their employees and their customers. No,
my door just closed.
Whoa! The wind.
A breeze came through. It was really loud. Sorry,
I heard it. I did hear it. That's okay. Yeah. So I didn't do that, but you probably should. Those are good things to check. Some companies are doing a lot of people said, like, oh, get DoorDash or something. And I honestly, like, I feel like that's just more hands that are touching it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was like, I'd rather pick it up ourselves. And what we did was, Ian and I drove over together. One of us was door guy and one of us was food guy. So I did not touch any doors and I didn't drive the car. The only thing I touched was the food. Ian, he opened and closed the car door for me. He opened and closed the house door for me. He opened and closed the restaurant door for me. He also had, I had paid ahead, which is another thing to do so that to limit contact, but we had to sign for it. He also was the only one who touched the pen, did the signing. So I grabbed the bag. And then Ian, got all the doors on the way home. So the first thing I did when I got home was I put the bag on the floor in the kitchen, not on the counter, because the outside of the bag had been touched by probably more hands than stuff inside. I put all that stuff like out on the counter, all the actual food containers. And then I probably could have wiped those down too, but I didn't. And then I threw that bag away immediately, the one that had been on the outside. And I went and washed my hands before we touched anything else. And Ian washed his hands first thing when he came in the door. So we both washed our hands, for 20 seconds and such. And then kind of let things cool for a little bit and then ate. So I feel like, there's only so much you can do in that type of scenario, but I feel like that's a pretty good procedure.
Yeah.
If you're looking for one.
Yeah, I feel really good about that. Like, we're thinking about starting to do some takeout. Some local businesses are moving to takeout models only. They've posted online about their increased sanitation practices, which we feel really good about. One restaurant is doing like a take and bake situation, like this really fancy Italian place we love is doing a take and bake where you obviously take and bake, but also they're like, we'll sell you a featured bottle of wine as well. So like there's some exciting things that people are doing. And like, I think we're about ready to start, doing that. So those are some great tips. Like I hadn't even thought about like, door guy and, drive guy and that sort of stuff. I like that.
It made me feel better, if nothing else. So I thought I would share.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. And to that end, I said this at the beginning, like I'd recommend checking out, like if you're wondering about like how to get food, just your local farm deliveries. Like the farmers are missing out on wholesale business. So I know like, individual sales are more important to them now. So just like checking out like your local farms who you might not know about, A, or B, you might not, might be around but have never delivered before. It might be delivering now. And so that might be a great option to get fresh produce, fresh meat, fresh dairy to your door. And a lot of them are doing contact free, which is nice. So.
Yeah, wow. I will check that out. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. Check it out.
Wow, well, we accidentally made like basically a full-length episode, so I think that we...
episode.
So that's good. But I think that we can probably call that an app.
Let's do it. Let's wrap it up.
All right, cool. I don't know. I guess my homework is all the stuff that we just talked about. Just do that stuff.
Stay safe. Self-isolate. You know, if you're able to, get as creative as you can. Try not to go to the grocery store if you can help it. Like delivery, obviously, the person who's delivering is putting themselves at risk, but at least you won't be putting anybody at risk. So that is important.
Yes. So yeah, just stay safe. Be kind to yourself. Don't just keep your mental health in mind, I guess, is our message to everybody.
Take care of you.
Yeah. And that's it. I don't need
Bye, everybody. We'll be back to our normal programming next week.
We're pretty sure, yeah. I would assume that.
That's our hope and dream.
That's our hope and dream. So, yeah, the podcast Kindle, which is really crackly. Hold on, let me see if you can hear it on that.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear it? Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really relaxing when I'm working, actually. But right now, Erin, it's extinguished. So
it's extinguished. Goodbye.
Goodbye. We love you.
Bye. We love you more than ever.